I wanted to get this film put together yesterday while it was still fresh, so I'm not sure I'll remember where I was or going with this series of photos, but it should be a short film. So that was where we left off. This is the one you said in your email that you wanted, was D, basically. I showed D2, but D was no blue, and so that became 1114A. And while I did start by working on the wall opposite this one, on the brick wall, where that's going to be maintained brick and hopefully brought brick all the way up, I'm going to show you this wall first and go through a bunch of the stuff this way first. And a lot of this I'm not even going to remember to be able to comment, but you'll be able to see enough different looks, including color on that ceiling, to maybe help you make a few decisions. Now we will be looking at the outside as well, and with the windows. But immediately, this was, by the time I got in here, I had already converted these to the casement windows, to the, whatever they are, 35.5 or 36 inch wide casement windows here. And then these transoms are all the same size at the top on the east and the west wall. But after I was done getting this built, put back together that way, with those transoms and with the casement windows, and these are casement windows here, you can see I'm still showing a taller transom down here. It was left over from the last one, I think, or something like that. But I run through a whole series of, just having fun with this, and you can do with this, any of these, what you will. But I arrived at where I would go to probably. In any event, one of the first things you can see is right here, this window. This has these brick columns, these 8-inch wide brick columns running up. And I've been showing in the past with this as a unified window, and that's just framing like your one at the stairway to the basement. So that's one thing to think about. Now these are just some colors on the ceiling, and I think you're going to have some, this can be done. A skilled person can do this with the right material and so forth, make that hard edge transition, but I think you're going to probably need or want some sort of transition up there. And I think that probably is, that is like a crown mold of sorts, so that's an extension of the wall, and I would just have that painted white. This is the darker ceiling, this is that same stuff. And here we see on the left side this window shifting. Out here we definitely are having these columns because we need this brick columns. Right now they're shown as 12-inch wide. We need those brick columns coming up to carry that brick that's going on up over that arch window. But here on the side we don't need to do that, and you have a lot more angular view out there anyway, so probably I would recommend those go away on that window. And then this is just, again, I began to really look at this a little bit more, and at the end, no matter what else happens with all these windows here, at the end I think I decided that I like this horizontal line because this is something that's carried all the way around the room, and I like that. But then after I put these flanking unequal arch windows in, this is really just a case of trying to determine what to do with this other window up there. And the series of photos, I'm bringing it up and down, and this one I kind of liked from the inside, this even margin up here, but from the outside I don't think the brick is going to be workable from a better standpoint. So I think it had to go up just to get the brick trim across this, not to be fighting with the brick trim across that. And that's what I finally thought was the best that I could do with everything considered. Except there's a few more little changes. It has to do with this trim up here, I know for sure. Yeah, this is the one. I like it kind of in here. Probably less than this one. But this one, whether you like it or not, inside, it doesn't work outside. So it's kind of moot. So you can see it goes back up to something that's workable outside. And now you can see just a little bit here. If you look close here, you can see what this crown mold or trim or transition is consisting of, and it's just a 1x with a piece of cove trim down here. And maybe that has to go up. I think it definitely has to go up. And so I took it up, and now I think there's only a couple inches exposed here now. And a couple finished photos are the ones that I liked. One of these ones, this one here, what happens here is this window's standard, it's 26 inches up here, and this makes the corner of this casing come down, and it's level with the corner of that casing there. So that was, that determined that one pretty much, and then it was just a case of what works best here. And I really, this other one with that line not coming across, I don't care for. Alright, what else is happening here? Oh, this is just more of this trim at the ceiling where it goes up that extra inch. Now I'll look at the opposite side. There's just not nearly as many photos on that side. We'll look at the opposite end of the room now. And I really like how this end of the room ends up shaping up personally, I think. I don't know if you will, but I liked it. I like the idea of getting rid of the actual doorway. And so I started with this sort of a situation, and that is 24 inches deep, so I wasn't sure whether you wanted a back in that, and if you did, what that back would be made of. But I have it set up so that this is brick on the inside and outside with room for insulation between them, and then the ceiling is kind of just like your ceiling up here, I would think, or something like that. I actually raised that up a little bit more. So I like how it works with these windows here. And so this was, some finished photos looking this way. And this shows this trim, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like this arrangement here, and I don't know, maybe no trim on the sides. I don't know. That's something that'll have to be thought out and decided. But I'm showing it with it in this. And then you've got some outlets and switching to consider. I'm showing switching here. I thought this would be the more active door, so I'm showing switching here. I'm also showing switching here. Now you can see how deep those shelves are. And that brick at the back wall, that's your existing back wall of your house brick. So we're not going to gain anything from that. But that is 24 inches deep then from the surface of this to the surface of that. This is just that trim at the ceiling moving up that last bit, which that's not too bad either, really. Maybe you can go up even a touch more. And finally, it occurred to me, if you want to, I don't have anything shown here. That could be a cabinet, or there's that space is actually just wide enough to fit one of these 24-inch coolers in here for refrigeration out there. I think that's it on those two walls, on the inside and the outside. And from the outside, I'm just going to show you this whole series of photos because it was really just, again, the same thing that you saw on the inside, horsing around with these windows. And I stopped naming plans, or stopped, I just was working with one plan at that point. And this whole next to last series is just, these are screenshots that I saved according to file name, and I'm just going to run through them according to file name, and showing some of the different things, and hopefully I'll be able to remember what I was doing at the time. First of all, I switched out all the windows from the double hung windows to these casement windows. And I guess this was the very first thing I did with that, with these short transoms everywhere, including here. And this is a nice look too. I don't show that from the inside, but that's the first conversion I did, and I think I like everything happening with that. I like these horizontal lines. I like that these carry through here. This, though, one of the reasons I probably like this is it's nicely balanced here with this brick going up between those two windows. This is an 8-inch wide piece, and these are 12-inch wide pieces here. You may want to look at keep your eye on the brickwork at that end and what you think works or doesn't there. Here, though, you see these being unified like these ones are, while these are still, on their own. And like I said, some of this brick has to go up. I think that's as low as you could bring that, and I think that's what I finally settled on that series of interior photos, was that level there, because of the juxtaposition of these two pieces of brick, these lintel work. right there, I think it starts to get a little too much tension. Anyway, that's, we're just going through the numbers here. I mean, I don't know about buying that extra window and what it's doing, except, actually carrying that horizontal even more all the way around. So that's something, maybe that's worth it. But I think I ultimately eliminated it. That is the tallest picture window you can get, 6 foot wide and 8 foot tall. And notice these flanking ones are not the same size as those, and I really don't like that look from inside. So I think the only thing that works from inside is when those are the same as everything else, or when they're one of these unequal arch windows. And here is the last series. Actually, there isn't another series, but when I went looking for what I was looking for, if you look at the transition between these two photos, and I missed this, and this was in an effort to make these two elements work better together. And this window, this column goes down to 8 inches wide then, and what it is, these windows stay the same size, but they are ordered, or whatever, they're trimmed with a 2-inch or 1.5 inches or whatever casing, square casing or whatever around them, to add some volume to them. And you can see it more in this photo because it gets light, and I didn't notice that, but now you see there's more of a tracery looking thing through here with a little bit more wood looking structure, and I like that as well. I mean, that'll be enough brick to do it, and you can see you can't really bring this any lower, really, I don't think, and that it might even benefit by going up another 4 inches, and that's how those come. But I'd be looking to maintain that, I think, all the way around. So I think that's it. Well, no, I'm going to show you now, once I discovered that I had forgotten this, I'm going to show you 2 more photos from the end and this other end here with that look. Hopefully it'll show up a little better than it does here, but you can certainly see the difference from here to there. How that white margin gets thinner, gets thicker, gets wider going forward. So I'll show you these last 2, and that'll be it. When I say 2 more photos, I mean less than a dozen. And it's that 12-inch wide pillars here from the end. And this whole last section of this film is just about these end windows and that casing, etc. This is supposed to have a windowsill here, like this, but I don't really care for this that much. I think that's better. And that's better still. From this direction, then that same widening of the casing, narrowing down of those pillars. And this needs a windowsill, and there it is. And then this shows you the brickwork up there. Must have had the light, the sunlight the right way. This shows you the brickwork and the casing work, and this shows you the sill. Anyway, that's it for sure. Thanks very much, and I will talk to you soon.